The New England Patriots lose in Week 5 to the Miami Dolphins 15-10. Let's talk about post-game reactions, the good, the bad, the ugly. This is Sports Talk Patriots. You already know my name's Aaron on the daily, putting out that content for people just like you. So before we get started, do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe and like button, and I'm sure at some point you're going to want to comment below. So let's jump into the box score real quick. I want to start with the good. You guys know me. If you watched my channel before, I am positive. I'm a glass half full type of guy, and I'm going to take what I can from this game and make it positive. First, the rushing attack. Ramondre Stevenson, even though he didn't get the start, this is the first thing, even though he didn't get the start, came in, played well. 12 carries, 89 yards, 7.4 average that many yards a carry, solid with a TD. Antonio Gibson with the start, 6 carries, 52 yards. They looked great. The run game, at times I was like, we just run the ball. Just continue to run the ball. Run game looked great. And on top of that, the offensive line actually did not look that bad. I really think there was times that Brissett just sat in the pocket way too long, uncomfortably long, where I'm like, you need to get rid of it. It almost seemed awkward at times. And yes, he made some good throws. He also made some very bad throws. So again, you look at Brissett's stats, 18 of 34, 160 yards. You're in the NFL. You got to be putting up more than 160 yards as well. Losing to a team by 15-10, if your team holds the other team to 15 points, you got to win that game. That has to be a win. But regardless, we look at the positives. Running game, I'm going to give that a B+. It was solid. Again, I would have liked to see more carries at times. So I thought that was great. The offensive line play, I thought that was much better than usual. Yes, there was a ton of penalties, so I'm probably going to give it more in the C+ range. And we will get to penalties when we get to the ugly portion of this post-game reaction. But besides that rushing attack, offensive line, in that realm right there, did pretty well. For the most part, did pretty well. You go to the receivers. I loved that Pop got the ball a lot more. Again, he's averaged almost 10 yards a reception. He needs to get involved more. Plain and simple. He is a weapon. He needs to be utilized. And then you see at the bottom end, Jalen Polk. Gosh, that touchdown was ridiculous. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not know that rule. The commentators, how they were talking about the toe, when you're catching it and your toe is dragged and then you go out, that's different from your toe is in and then your foot lands, making that foot out of bounds. Very interesting rule. So does that mean that if he would have just tapped his toe and then lifted up and then fell out of bounds, that would have been fine? But it was the fact that that foot was planted in bounds but then stepped out of bounds. That was the issue at hand. Very interesting. Wild they didn't give an explanation to the crowd. The crowd not happy about that. Again, I looked at that. I told my wife, that's the game. Boom. I was ready to come make this video and watch the rest of the game. And then before I know it, she's like, hey, you need to come back. You need to come back. And yeah, frustrating. But anyways, good to see Pop getting more involved in the game. Again, I'm going to say this. I'm probably beating a dead horse when I say this. A lot of you might think this is a stupid comment. I don't really care. But I will tell you this. I do think Drake May does a better job behind that offensive line. I think he can scramble more. He's going to get hit. It's the NFL. That's part of it. Yes, this offensive line's not that great. I think they did better at points today. Again, I think penalties were a huge issue. Again, we will talk about on the later part of the show. But I think it's worth it. It's at this point, what do you got to lose? What do you have to lose? There's plenty of times, like I said, I saw Jacoby drop back, uncomfortable. That last drive where he did hit, was it Polk? No, it was Demario Douglas, right? In the middle of the field. He kind of sat right there, caught him right in the middle of the field. That was awesome. But again, I thought he was going to be sacked. I was like, all right, this is a game right here. So kind of frustrating. Again, we just need a little more little more mobility back there, a little better decision making. Again, I don't think Jacoby's the best at making decisions. He's not a starting quarterback. That's the thing. He is not a starting quarterback. And I know people are going to say, well, you want to put Drake May behind that offensive line? I'm worth trying. Why not? If he's the guy going forward, what are we waiting for? Just the fact that we don't want him to get absolutely destroyed? Sure, okay. But he's going to have to do it at some point. So, again, also, if you watch the offensive line had Jacobs was playing right tackle and Wenu left tackle. I like that a lot more than vice versa. And so it looked like I said, there was times that offensive line was competent. There was times that there were stupid penalties that really shot themselves in the foot. Defensively, there was, again, you held the other team to 15 points. Now, you look at the Dolphins, and I will say this. So we talked, again, let's review the good. The good, the running offensive line did somewhat well. Got the ball to Popmore. Awesome. Great. Besides that, when you look at the positives, defensively, there was a lot of great things. But I will also say this. I think the Miami Dolphins literally were trying to lose that game. They missed a field goal. They botched a snap on a field goal. They had a block punt. Have mercy. Threw interception, almost threw 2 interceptions. If Christian Gonzalez would have held on to that one and Tyreek Hill wouldn't have popped it out. Crazy. They literally were trying to give that game away. And that game was in the Patriots' hands the whole time until the Miami Dolphins finally scored a touchdown. And so, and I truly believe, and I think this is the bad part, and I think this is going to what's going to kind of plague this defense the remainder of the year, is the offense needs to stay on the field longer. In that defense, when the defense is out there, it is tough for them. It is tough for them to it wears them out. They're tired, and I get that. Our boy that we talked about being moved up the elevation from the practice squad, this is pretty awesome. Jaquelin Roy, he got a sack. He actually, for interior lineman, 4 tackles, 3 solo, and a sack, tackle for loss, a QB hit. That's pretty solid from coming off the practice squad. So I will give him that. Also, I think Christian Gonzalez, he held his own with Tyreek Hill. I think he had his moments where you can tell Tyreek's fast, but I think for the most part he held his own. And it was, Jonnu Smith, a lot of the passes he got, he was covered by a linebacker, or he kind of just slipped into an open spot. And so you really look at Tyreek Hill, I don't know off the top of my head how many times he was matched up with Christian Gonzalez, but I think Christian Gonzalez had a pretty solid game, obviously too, with the interception. So pretty big. Antonio Gibson, awesome game as well, especially getting the start. Joey Sly, golly, granted, even if he made that field goal, earlier, and this is what's crazy, you're gonna be like, Aaron, this is your fault, they lost. But before he kicked that field goal that he missed, it showed the graphic on the screen that he was 8 of 9. And I was like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, he's going to easily be 9 of 10 right here. And nope, he misses it. So 8 of 10. And it was just like, how do we miss that? But he makes that right there. And these last 2 series, they literally go for a field goal. Or that the second to last one with the Jalen Polk, where they called that not a touchdown, right there they go for the field goal. They take the lead by a point, and then it's in the Dolphins' hands to try to win that game in the final minute. So just crazy. We look at some other just kind of like just rough, bad. Again, I don't think Jacoby Brissett had a great game, but I think one glaring stat that is really going to, in the commentators once again, Mark Sanchez in that weird hair bun that he was repping, they kept saying penalties, a total of 18 penalties. The Patriots had 12 for 105 yards. Wow. 105 yards. As well, another glaring stat in the red zone. Patriots made it in there twice. 0 for 2. Rough, very rough. And so it's possible that I'm trying to think that second time the second time they should have scored. They should have had that touchdown. Honestly, you're in the red zone. You need to get points. It's as simple as that. But again, the also ugly to this is Tua is going to most likely be returning. And so looking at this moving forward, the Dolphins are only going to get better, and it's only going to be harder. So the Patriots really need to take a step back in offensively. Defensively, again, I don't care who the heck the quarterback is. It does not matter. You gave up 15 points. And this is what we're going to do. Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. So we look at their schedule. I'm going to pop you back on here one more time. Look at the schedule. Hear me out. They give up 10 points to the Cincinnati Bengals. They gave up 23 to the Seahawks, 24, 30. I'll give San Francisco, that's an anomaly just because that I think they're hands down the best team. But all those aren't it's not like they're blowouts. They're not blowouts. You're giving up that many points. That's not that bad. And so it's rough when you have a defense that's out there. They're trying their best to get this team to a win, and the offense needs to just keep up their end of the bargain. That's the biggest thing. So the biggest question is, give me your biggest post-game reactions. What's your thoughts, concerns? Maybe give me this. Let's stay a little positive. Give me something good. Give me something frustrating. Post it down in the comments. We'll talk about it as well. What do you think the Patriots need to do moving forward? Simple as that. Comment below. Something good, something bad. What do they need to do move? What do they need to do? There we go, Aaron. Talk. Moving forward. Again, I appreciate you guys. This is Sports Talk Patriots. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.